and welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando, Monday, September the 23rd, 7:39 p.m. Thank you so much to everyone that's live with us. Appreciate your support. Obviously, not so great news. The Lions lost. We'll discuss what happened against the Crew, the highlights, the analysis of what occurred. We'll also dive into the MLS East table, and then we'll also talk about some OCB. I do want to say that, for starters, before I say hi to John, I wasn't so hopeful. I mean, I'm always hopeful when it comes to Orlando City, and y'all know me. But I was really taken aback by the resilience of the team. I'm just gonna say that. Looking for a late comeback. It could have literally been a draw or a win for Orlando if some goals would have gone in. So, but obviously, talking about that and emphasizing all of that, it's kind of like it doesn't make any sense. So, we're ready to turn the page. It was definitely an L that it was expected. I wasn't expected to score three three goals on Columbus though, but it was nonetheless quite a learning experience, and we'll discuss all of that what we saw against Columbus Crew. John, how are you, my friend? How do you take that loss against the Crew?
Um, I think kind of like not expected, but like not super surprised either. I think
Yeah,
with it being the third game in a week, it was always going to be a struggle. It was going to be a struggle regardless of when we played them, going to their house. I think we're aware that Miami, Cincy, and them are they're kind of on another level this year to the rest of the East, and we might be the top of the rest, but we're still not quite at that level of those other teams. And so I think as much as we fought, which I was glad to see, the little errors cost us, and that's errors that we made against the other teams before, right? The little sloppy mistakes at home, but against Nashville, New England, Charlotte, we get away with that. Against Columbus, ain't no way we're gonna get away with that, and they punished us for it. So here we are. But hey, 4-3,
yeah,
saved some face, didn't get smacked completely. So I think that's good. And let's learn from this, and hopefully this is something that the guys are like now got a fire in their belly. And later in the season, if we come up against Columbus again in the playoffs, maybe, then we're gonna have said, okay, what did we learn from our 4-3 loss earlier in the year? But I'm gonna say not shocked and sadly
yeah,
expectant of that, and it just kind of happened as we expected.
yeah. I mean, it was a 4-3 loss that could have been worse, but it also could have been so much better. I think, but I really like how the team battled back. Um, Coming from behind, it was interesting. So we'll dive into the analysis. Let's look at the what happened against the Crew. We are right here. Hold on, let me pull it up right here. All right, so here we got the Crew with. I mean, overall, to me it was the night of their backs. Arston and Farsi played a phenomenal game. I will say that you know we talked here on the preview about how Darlington Nagby looks for spaces and things like that, and I'm gonna say we're gonna dive into the Orlando lineup right now. But Nagby, um, he met who Giorgio Kochevsky is on this game. Same with Matan. I think Cartagena got them controlled, um, but everything came from the flanks. What were for starters, your overview of this lineup for Columbus, John?
Well, I think I was watching Columbus's lineup and their games prior to this as well. So one of the things I noticed is that Jackson has really come on. Is a
Yeah,
great player for them. But like you said, Farsi and Arston If you notice, they played Rossi from the beginning, and then they brought on Cucho at 45. They did
Mhm.
that same thing in the game before against Toronto as well. They just rotated. They rotated some of their back line in the game before. I think that's going to be one of the biggest pluses that Oscar has versus, sorry, that Wilfred Nancy has over Oscar. If you look at the coaches and what they did to prepare for this game, Columbus feel very comfortable to rotate their lineup and still play games and have no fear of doing that. And they bring in different guys, they rest guys if they need to. There wasn't many of this that played all 90 for like the last week of all the games because they played 3 in a week as well. Whereas for Orlando City, we're very reliant on our first 11.
Yeah.
And, Oscar, right or wrong, he played his first 11 the first 2 games, and we got the points at home, which is probably the right thing to do. And then he tried to play him again in this game, and I think it was okay in the first half. And then in the second half, we look really tired. And I think that's where Columbus have a massive edge is they've used their squad and then used their depth more throughout the season. So when it comes to times like this, they're able to rotate and feel comfortable. We're not, and I just think that played a big factor in how tired we look based on how fresh they looked at times.
Yeah, we know what Ramirez and Rossi could do with Jackson up top. We knew what the three up top could do, even without Cucho. And we have a comment from Guille Carlos. Thank you so much. He says, if we see them again, Ramiro needs to start. I love Dunk, but Ramiro is more effective versus Columbus. Obviously, because of what happened in the second half, Mr. Guille is going to definitely, we could, I think, all agree that Ramiro was on point in this game. But I do want to say Cherepko and Moreira had a massive game for Columbus. I would say Moreira more than Cherepko, but I think both played a really good game and defensively. And obviously, Dunk and they're two very physical defenders, especially Cherepko. So that caused some issues for Duncan to make some moves. But it's still, we'll discuss all of that. And then now we have Orlando City, and we had some changes with Orlando City as well.
With support from
Just a
MLS
second
start for
Columbus,
Giorgio
please.
Kochevsky.
Yeah.
In the game lineup before this, the Toronto lineup, they had Russell Rowe in there. They didn't have Moreira in the lineup. They had Jones in there. They had Chambost in there.
Yeah.
They had a lot of different guys. Like I'm talking a big rotated lineup against Toronto. So I think that played into the fact that a lot of them had great games because they were well rested.
Yeah, and then when it came to us, we I think called the lineup except for Duncan. I think we were going for Ramiro, but you, John, my hat's off. Obviously, I don't have a hat today. You got Giorgio Kochevsky, and what a massive game of Giorgio Kochevsky, man. Do you want to say something about that, Giorgio Kochevsky?
Yeah, I mean, we were debating the Kyle Smith. I think like old Oscar thinking when we were like, oh, okay, he's gonna go for Kyle Smith.
Kyle Smith, right?
He wants the reliable guy that he knows, but I think it was right to give Kajeski the go. Whether he did not get a good rating on FootMob, so whether you think he had a good game or not, I don't know. As objective of whether you think we had a good game. Defensively, letting in 4 is pretty bad, but I don't think he stuck out as like a big problem. I think we were a little sloppy, and Kaczewski might have been sloppy at times, but it wasn't like, oh, he's the glaring problem in this team. I think it was just a case that it takes a while for him and Wilder to build up like a relationship. Sometimes he would be in the wrong place, or Wilder, and we rely so much on the Wilder Cesar partnership that when one of them is gone, whoever steps in, it's just going to be really difficult for them to kind of have that relationship with Wilder and show the same level that Cesar does. But I think Kaczewski did a pretty good game. He was okay. And I think it was nice for Oscar to put some faith in him in such a big game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for what I expected for Kaczewski to do personally, I thought he had a good game. I thought he had a really good game. Like I will trust them with inferior competition to give either Cartagena or even Araujo a rest and putting him in there for sure. Um, you know, I do want to say though, it was a turnover fest for the Lions the whole first half. I mean, it's the turnovers was unreal. Everybody was turning over the ball. Like you're talking about Cartagena, you're talking about Kuchevsky, you're talking about Dagger, So, it's something that we definitely need to definitely hone down. And also Jensen, again, Jensen a little slow right there coming back. It's just something that eh, the team has to get better at for
Did you
sure.
get a stat sheet for this one, Luis? Because I was wondering
Yeah.
on
I
that.
have it. I have the Surface Score one. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking on football, and it was saying that for interceptions, we had 7 interceptions, and they only had 1, and I was like, "What?" Like, we definitely gave the ball away a bunch, but they don't have a stat that clearly says like, gave the
Well,
ball away. It's more just
like for example,
interceptions.
like to show you a little bit about what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Let me take that out. Let me put what I'm looking at right here. So when I go to Surface Score and I click on Kuchevsky, right, the way I know it's turnovers is right here when it comes to where does it go? Possession lost. Like he lost possession 6 times, dude. So, when
Possession
you lose,
lost. Got you.
yeah. So when you lose possession, it's pretty much a turnover.
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
So six possessions lost. Now look at Cartagena right here. 6. So your two
Yeah.
double pivots lost the ball 6 times each.
I think
Right,
also that, don't forget how good the midfield is for, they're up against
right.
Nagby and
Nagby and Matan, which they both
Matan.
had.
Yeah.
Now, accurate passing for Cartagena, he was one of the best, 32 out of 35 accurate passes. So, now, but look at Faku. Uh, you know, um, 10 times he lost the ball. 10 times he lost the ball, and he's your winger, right? If you
It
compare
wasn't
that with Rossi, for example, compare that with Rossi, he lost the ball 7 times, right? So Angulo is the same way. I mean, it's 11 times lost the ball. So it was, to me, it was a turnover fest for the Lions. It was, to me, one of the reasons why, like, every time Columbus would get the ball, you kind of like, at least me, I don't know how you, John, but I just had to grab my drink real hard and real tight. Now I'm about to sip a drink. I'm like waiting for them not to get killed in the back. It was tough, but everyone turned over the ball, unfortunately. So let's read some more comments here real quick. Says, no, we don't have any more comments. My apologies. So let's go back into the highlights real quick. Here, right here was like outstanding. I just don't know why they didn't finish this.
Flowing past Tom.
we had so many, Luis, of these early like didn't we hit the bar like twice in the first 30
Yeah,
minutes, like
yeah.
the post, like, and they hit the post as well. It was like it could have been such a different start to this game.
Um, Look, yeah, I mean, we can sit down and say, hey, you got two shots off the post, and it's true, and
The
I mean,
18.
to me, this transition is a sign of improvement. If you say that it's not a sign of improvement, then bro, like, I know football just started, bro. You may want to get your season pass for the Bucks or something, because I'm telling you, Orlando City was not doing this in the beginning of the year. They were not doing this in the beginning of the year. So I see a sign of improvement here. It's just look at this.
Here's a shot down.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Nagby hit the
I mean,
post.
the only way I could say this is unlucky. And then obviously Faku, open goal right there, and then he tried to do with his with his left foot,
Off the post. Settled
and that completely killed the moment.
here by Orlando. Save made by Schulte. Reaches out.
You
I
know,
mean, but that one could have gone in as well. It's yeah.
now I mean, you could say, oh yeah, well, he only uses 1 foot, and I was like, yeah, well, he's our DP man. I mean, if you have a time machine, you want to turn back time, like share and go and return to the time that we signed Faku. You know what I mean? It's not gonna happen. I mean, that's the foot that he uses in perfection.
Here's their
12
Now,
minutes, 3 posts. I mean, wild, just
now,
wild.
now, the only word I can use to describe that is unlucky. There's really no other word. Because I mean, yes, he could have turned the foot a little better. We're it's like I'm kind of like trying to say, yeah, we could have those chances. Yes, in another scenario, probably would have been a goal,
I mean,
but
there's nothing closer than hitting the
they
woodwork,
hit in
as
the
they
post.
say. Yeah, you hit the post. Like there's
Mhm.
nothing closer than getting a goal to that, and we did that 3 times.
Three
There's another
times
one later.
in
We
the
did
first
it
20 minutes.
3 times in this game.
Hmm.
So
25-year-old.
I'm not saying they should have been goals, but on another day,
Right.
one of those three goes in, and then we're leaving 4-4. Two of those three goes in, and we're out of there 5-4 in an insane
We-
win. And yeah, you could go the other way and say Columbus could have got that one. They just hit off the post.
right.
It was one of those nights where some things fell for us, like the penalty, and other things did not fall for us, like Jansen's attempt to block the ball, and it still went through. So it comes down to these little moments in games like this, and we were unlucky more than lucky.
And the atmosphere at the stadium, I will say, it was a packed stadium, full of Columbus fans. There's really like a little bit of white or purple, barely, and that also, that 12th man, it's important. Let's read some comments. It says here, sir, I'm gonna say it, Columbus or Inter Miami. Orlando plays too defensively, I think he says in Spanish. They have a team to win, to beat anyone, but they play too defensive, as if they were Barcelona, as if they were facing Barcelona or Manchester City. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know, Alonso. There you go. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Designated player from Argentina. He's settled into the 10 role for this Orlando side recently. Able to play this ball in. Nagby in the danger area trying to get it out. And a chance and a penalty.
That right there.
Yeah, I mean,
Orlando side recently.
Faku, I wish he hit this first time.
Exactly.
I think there's an over
volley.
reliance on a needing to get the good touch,
Mhm.
and that's like a few times in this game. Like he doesn't matter right foot, left foot. When a ball is put that perfectly there,
That
he
should
tries
have.
to bring it down. There's no space to bring it down.
Yeah.
You just gotta gamble it and hit it low and hit it hard, man. Like,
Mhm.
and that happens a few times in this game where we take
If
that extra
not,
touch and
if
we
not,
lose
try to
the
lock.
space and opportunity.
If not, try to pass it to Duncan. But I mean, already here, what I mean. Right there, he could have. You know what I mean. Could have left it for Duncan. Duncan was onside.
But what a ball by Ojeda. I mean, he puts in
Yeah, I
the
mean,
perfect plays. And I think the problem is in that scenario, we need that to be on like the head of Duncan.
correct.
You know what I mean? Like it's the wrong person there. Like I think it needs to be or Jansen or somebody because that
Right.
ball's coming in at a perfect angle. You want to get up and head it. You don't like it drops so low, but that's because
Right.
the crew is so unexpected in what's happening. But it gives Faku a perfect opportunity to hit it on the volley, and he chooses not to, which is a shame.
Yep. And Darlington Nagby,
I call it Faku.
Yeah, it was the right call too. Yeah, I agree.
Faku was you couldn't see it at first because he was right behind Wilder. I thought he came from an onside position. Sorry, my dog is bothering me.
Oh. It's okay, man. No, but I feel the same. I feel like this was a good call by the ref. Now, this ref, a lot of people don't know, this ref had some issues with Columbus in the past. He was the ref that red carded a lot of people when there was that fight between NYCFC and Columbus. You know, that fight that happened. He was the ref. So, but in this game, I think he got a couple of good calls, and he was good. Again, I agree with you. I think, and again, this is not, and this is the way we perceive it. It's not telling. I'm not trying to tell Mister Perlman how to set up his set piece, drills and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like if it would have been Duncan there, or even like Santos or Jansen, that would have probably, with that ball, that curler would have been fantastic, and probably would have gone in right there.
No penalty. This marvelous.
I was like, we just gave these dudes a goal, and in my mind, I'm like, they're gonna kill, like, this killed the momentum. Now they're gonna go all in, right? I don't know how you felt when that happened.
I think it was just, typical Orlando City, right? We hit the post a bunch of times. We look bright. We look lively first 20 minutes, but we're not putting it in the net. And then it just takes one chance for them to come up the other end. But this was exactly us and our own sloppy mistakes, because Ojeda, it's a horrible pass. He doesn't look. It's lack of concentration. I think he's probably tired. Something that we don't see him do very often, just play a sloppy ball like that. And then we're recovering. And I think Jansen, we talked about before, was looked tired this week anyway. And then it's kind of unlucky, honestly. Like, Jansen does well to get down and try and block it, but it comes off from underneath him and then changes direction. So Pedro is committed one way, and then the ball goes in the other side of the net. So a little bit unlucky, and a little bit, it just kind of seemed like, oh, okay, typical us, like, oh, we can't score at the other end, and then they get one. And I'm glad our heads didn't drop at this moment, because I think it was a little bit of a downer. And it's a while before we kind of came back into the game, but we weren't, we didn't get completely knocked out of it. We didn't let this completely kill our fight.
Yeah, for sure. I thought this goal was going to demoralize the team. That's exactly. I feel exactly the same as you said. And yeah, I felt like Jansen could have done a little better, for sure. I don't blame Pedro at all. And it was a great shot by a very skilled player, Diego Rossi, man, a player that, again, I do want to say, he was a free agent. Columbus got him by the free, and they won a championship, with him. So honestly,
Fresh of only playing 45 minutes on Wednesday, man.
Correct.
Cover if we mark the guy. Like, okay, they're going to get the cross in, but you had time to get up there and make a challenge on Ramirez. And once again, Schlegel and Santos caught ball watching, something that they do quite a lot.
Yeah, let's read some comments. It says, Alonso says, why Kochevsky? Well, because I don't know the real reason why Oscar put him in.
I asked a question back, Alonso. Who else? Like,
yeah,
don't tell me Felipe, because you saw what happened.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
No. So I'm agreeing with you, why Kochevsky, but Oscar's put us in this situation because we don't have like other D-mids. So we have two very good D-mids, and then I don't know what else after
Look at this
guy. No, Felipe. I'm sorry, but I think Kochevsky was a better. I think we would have got killed more if you were watching Felipe for 90 minutes. And I love the guy, but he's not playing. And every time he gets on the field, he hasn't done anything good.
It says FC Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati is like Peyton Manning. They choke. There you go. Columbus and Inter Miami are the teams to worry about. There you go. It says one thing is starting and another one is coming from the bench. I saw them training. Felipe's a leader. Well, I mean, we'll talk about that in a little bit, man.
I did see his Instagram of him in the gym. So
yeah, sure. But anyways, Oscar made changes 70th minute, you had already Ramiro Enrique in for Duncan Maguire, and Luis Muriel came in and literally, would you say was the best Luis Muriel game you've seen since he arrived to the City Beautiful, John?
I mean, it has to be, right?
It has
That
to be.
or was it the Philly game where he also got a brace?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we're seeing growing confidence of
Yep.
Muriel. Like it's he was our best player in this game according to the stats. Like he got the goals, and
Yeah.
obviously the penalty was interesting. We'll
Yep.
see that in a bit. Like I don't know, Faku gave him the opportunity, or whether Oscar said he gets the opportunity if we get. I don't know where that came from, but that builds confidence. And then the second goal was, that's like at Atalanta Muriel.
Yeah.
That's like what we thought we were signing Muriel. So if you could assist like he's been assisting the last few games, and you can score, Luis, now
No, I
I
agree with
genuinely
you.
did think it was an option for him to get hot for the playoffs. I thought that was like not going to happen. So
Now
if he can keep building this form, and we've got him as a real asset for the playoffs, that's massive.
he did mention that it costed him tremendously to get adapted to this league. It cost him tremendously. This is the hardest thing he's ever had to face in his career,
Well,
adapting to the
you and
MLS.
Polo were thinking like it's going to take an off season.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah,
you're I was very doubtful, but you're
yeah.
pleasantly surprised that it's happening finally
I
in the
think
season.
it's another weapon for Orlando City to have if he's going to maintain this momentum, which it seems like he's going to be. And apparently, he's been training by himself too at times, trying to get acclimated to the league. And Oscar praised that in the post press conference, which we have footage in our channel. If
I
you guys want to
genuinely
check it
thought
out.
that he looked skinnier. I'm
Yeah,
not messing. Like he does look a little skin, like he looks a little bit more mobile.
yeah, definitely. So let's another brain fart for the Lions
I
right
mean, but
here.
it's the same thing
It's
as
the
the
same
second
thing.
goal, just the other side. Like, look, we're getting 2v1 out on this wide side. Like, they had their wing backs so wide, and we didn't have Santos or Dagger anywhere near them. Like, so of course they had these opportunities to put in wide balls, and then we're not picking up the guy in the middle again. So look how far away Santos is from his man. Like,
Correct.
why is there that much? Like,
Yeah.
you've given him so much space that he's like, great, you give me this much space, I'll just hit across first time. And Jensen and Schlegel, not the
Too slow.
fastest, not picking up their
Yep.
man, too
Yep.
slow. I mean, brilliant play.
And
Like
then
that
and
first
then
time ball is insane,
yeah,
but
and then Cucho's a player that would hit that first time, like boom, like he ain't gonna stop and get his favorite foot in.
like he went through
Yeah, yeah.
Schlegel
Mhm.
and just on his own, and then had a shot, and it almost went in like top corner.
Mhm.
That's stuff we don't see Faku do. Like we see
Correct.
him be a great team player, but we don't see him create something out of nothing, pure brilliance mode.
Yeah. So that right there, like that's again Schlegel, right? And here's
So this is
honestly
3-0 in the 73rd minute, Luis. This was
yeah.
like,
So
hey, it's done. Like we're put a fork in it.
at this moment, I was literally, hey, I'm gonna take my dog out to do his thing. I
Yeah.
literally
I was like, what's next?
right,
This sucks.
right, and I really was thinking of just turning it off. No, but I was like, no, I gotta cover this. I gotta stay for the
Even that's the thing, Luis. Even if we want to turn it off,
we
we
can't, we
can't.
can't,
We
we can't.
gotta.
So
We just can't do it.
yeah, so anyways, good thing is that I caught the goals. My dog was pretty fast, so um, here we go.
Muriel, and now Facu Torres taken by Luis Moore.
The ball just comes in here.
Yeah, so Jaboa just pushed Angulo like,
I mean,
and yeah, he exaggerated a bit.
I kind of feel for if I was a Columbus Crew fan, I would be
Yeah,
livid. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
me too.
I felt I think it was like that is surely
That
they're
is
gonna. I thought
that's a,
surely they will VAR review this and then be like,
yeah, that's silly defending, in my opinion.
Agulo, the two armed up in the air, both legs off the ground. It's maybe a little bit too much.
Too much.
It's sort of like the most dramatic version of the dive you can do is
Yeah.
and I get it why he did it, and great we got a penalty, but if that was against us, I'd be
Yeah.
pissed,
I'll be pissed off.
because
But
it's definitely like he tries to buy it and he does buy it.
it was sloppy defending
Yeboah,
by
by the looks of it, actually stops before he even really gets to him as well. So
yeah.
bad
And then
call by the ref, and should have been VAR reviewed probably.
yeah, and then he grabbed his face too, and I was like, what?
Again.
And then yeah, I was surprised that Facu didn't take this. And then Muriel took it. And then I'm thinking, Lord, please protect this man. Seriously. Because if he doesn't score if he doesn't score this, the whole city's gonna they're
You know
gonna
what happened? We got the penalty, and I got up. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna grab a drink," because like, okay, well, and I was getting up, and as I was up, everyone was like, "Whoa, John, come back! Luis Muriel is taking the penalty." I was like, "Nah, you're joking, right?" I was like, "They're
yeah.
messing with me," and then I come back in the room and like, wait, actually, Muriel is taking the penalty, and yeah, I'm all for it because he slotted it away, Luis. But we could be sitting here talking about, oh dear, why did we give Muriel the penalty? So
Yeah.
glad he got it.
And Alonso said that Facu gave the penalty to Luis Muriel. So
Yeah,
Facu was on point. So that's awesome by Facu, man. I mean, that's such a, how do you say, that's, raising the confidence level on his teammate in a way. It's awesome to hear that. It says, too many games, senor. Today they were off. Today they were off. Also, today they were off. They will win in Dallas, according to sources. There you go. And
I hope so.
And then the finish was just, it was just like, come on, man. That's such a good finish. Man, that is
I mean, but that's how you
that's awesome, dude.
that is how you do the send the keeper the other way. Like the stutter step that they do where it's like, oh, did he go? Or did he, like, that annoys me because then they don't have any power on the shot. If you're gonna sell it, like, do it all in one motion. And classy penalty.
Yeah,
Muriel.
there you go.
Oh, Luis, breaking news. Have you got the breaking news banner?
Yes.
Hold on, everybody. Get the music.
There you go, guys. Breaking news. What happened, John?
Right here. We got it. We have a goal. An OCB.
Oh, here you go. OCB goal.
Let me go back a little bit and you'll see it here. Here we go. Freeman back, and I know how to score in this league.
Profe, have Freeman on the bench, man. Come on, man. Unbelievable form by OCB. Stream Jesus. Happy birthday, Cartagena. A jungle boy was born today, Lion King style. There you go. Is this Jacqueline should be the number 9 in the first team. Look at this guy.
We tried that.
anyways, so that was a filthy goal by Muriel. The finish was just amazing.
Game on in Columbus.
And at that point, I'm like, okay, it's 3-2. Game on, dude. I'm like, and then Oscar made the substitution, and again, I want to ask you. So, what do you think about Oscar's substitutions?
I think one I understand, and the other I did not.
Yeah, the last one I did not.
So I'll say that I think Petrasso did. I don't know if he did travel or not. If he's on the bench, I haven't checked that, but he should have come on if he was on the bench for Kyle Smith, in my opinion. I mean, for instead of Kyle Smith,
Yeah, so
Uh,
Petrasso, Mike, and Mikey Holiday were on in the
yeah,
bench.
I would have brought Petrasso on instead of Kyle. And then I think the Felipe for Wilder was out of necessity because Wilder was
Super tired,
exhausted, and we
exhausted.
were getting killed in the midfield because we had Kaczewski and an exhausted Cartagena. So I understand, but it just didn't look good because neither of them played well when they came on, and we kind of had a glimpse of hope, and then the subs happened, and I don't know.
That's right.
They also seem like negative subs. I would argue that if Wilder could, like, it was the 83rd minute,
Yeah,
you could just be like, Wilder, just stay out there and bring on Petrasso as a more aggressive attacking sub for Santos. I also think Dagger did not have a good game,
no,
and
yeah,
I think Dagger loved the man, as you all know, but this one he got killed
he got
kind of
killed
through
by
the
our
attack,
midfield.
and he was giving away balls, and it was
Yeah,
just not a game for him. And I think, as Alonso says here, seriously, Freeman needs to play in the first game. He
correct.
is ready.
Thank you,
Why
Alonso.
wasn't Alex Freeman traveling with the team? I would have given him a shot here.
5 goals
Maybe
in
Oscar
4
would say
games.
that's crazy, like he hasn't played, but like yeah, or Kyle Smith at the right back. I just don't like Kyle Smith as a left back. But even then, I'd maybe Mikey Halliday, but we haven't seen him in a long time. I think that would be a tough call to bring Mikey on in that situation. But he didn't take Dagger off, so he took Santos off when really Dagger maybe been the one instead. And yeah, I think the Muriel sub is, the Enrique, the attacking subs were great. I think these two subs were not what we needed, but I think he did it because they were both exhausted and like we were getting killed. So
Look, it was 10 minutes till the end of the game, which it could have extended 6 more minutes or 7 more minutes probably. But yeah, I mean, again, you had Petrasso, you had Mikey Holiday, you had Kyle Smith. It's just I bet Oscar just he said he's a D mid man. Like I'm gonna put him in. And I don't think no one saw what was gonna happen. And I think he totally effed up. I'm sure he felt like crap at the end. If I'm him. But we'll look it up in just a moment. It wasn't Rafa's game either. Yeah, I agree with Stream Jesus. I think both of our backs are hot and cold, man. There's a hot Dagger 3 games in a row, and then there's a cold Dagger
in
in
this
a
game,
very
I see that more as Oscar's fault because I think tactically, like I explained, we were getting killed because of the way
yeah.
that they play with the wingbacks, and we didn't give them support. Like we needed another midfielder in there next to Santos and Dagger to help them deal with that situation. And Torres and Angulo weren't doing that this game. They were very aggressive. And maybe you want to say, hey, I want, like Alonso says, I want to attack all the time. But if you do that, the
You expose
goals
yourself.
like the second and third goals that we saw from
Yeah.
Columbus is a
And,
prime example of you left yourself exposed.
and that's something we need to take into consideration for next season is better our back, our how do you boost your back line? To me, I feel like we need another center back, and I feel like we need a top center back and two really solid left back and right back. That are able to truly, like, we can have actually a bench that's able to also deliver. At the moment, I feel like we're relying into Santos and Dagger too much, that it becomes that we're using them so much, and there's not a lot of change. Or also we may be also, and again, I don't want to upset anybody, but we may be a little afraid maybe of putting the Freemans and things like that, because we have the fan base, and even after this loss, I saw some stuff that I just
Well,
you know
I think Oscar is also just he has, like we were talking about with um, you know, the Columbus Crew have given lots of chances to young guys, lots of chances to rotation guys throughout the season. They played like, if we take out if I say to you, put out a second 11 for this team right now, that is none of our like first 11 starters, you'd have some serious gaps in there where you'd be like,
definitely.
this team is probably not going to beat anybody in the league, right?
Correct.
Like I think, and especially not in the East, and that's where if you put Columbus's second team out, they probably still give most Eastern teams a decent game because they've had that time and exposure. We just haven't done that. We've stuck to a core 15 guys, and we really need 22, 25 guys to be getting a lot more minutes throughout the season. And that, I think that's ultimately the difference between us and Miami. Do the same thing. They've got a lot of different rotating players in there. That's my biggest criticism, I think, of Oscar this season is we have not seen like Sakata.
Sakata only like 10 minutes.
Why not bringing Sakata on earlier for more of these in these games? I don't understand that. Like Angulo needs to be coming off. Sakata needs to be coming on every game, in my opinion, at some point.
Yep.
12 minutes of regular time left, but then injury time on top of that.
Taken away here by Enrique. Orlando looking for
when this happened, I was like, "Yo, they're gonna tie it up."
more. Ramiro Enrique plays this ball in. Quick shot, and this dribbles wide of goal.
That was a massive save by Moreira, I think. No, Machado. I forgot his name. It was the dude with the beard and the cornrows. Hold on, I have it right here. What am I doing? Moreira, Moreira.
Yeah, Moreira, you got it.
Man, that dude was gonna be an own goal, and that would have been amazing. But he actually saved.
Here's Doc.
Now this right here, like you were saying, that Dagger needed a substitution.
Janssen for
Look at the press by Columbus.
Orlando. Here's Dagger.
But
that was
I blame more the pass back from Felipe here.
Yeah.
I think Dagger passed it to him, and like you want to do that 1-2, fine, but Felipe's pass back was so weak that it didn't get to Dagger, and it just essentially gave away possession.
Here's Dagger Dad.
I mean, what an easy steal. Is that Ramirez or Cucho? One of the blondies steals it away.
No, that was Cucho. That was Cucho. I'm like, I was like, yo,
you can't be doing that in front of Cucho. Like, so
it's like we just gave. Again, it's gonna sound bad. We just gave it away, man. It's like we just gave it away, and you don't give. These are the things that we need to really take into consideration going into the playoffs. That this could not happen. And what John says about depth and about the youth and having players that play 120 minutes and are able to withstand, like Columbus has that, like he was saying, that trust into the young guys. For us, we have OCB right now, like what, third, second, probably now in the MLS Next Pro. Like we gotta start doing that. I mean, for sure.
And under pressure, give it away. Cucho.
Guess what?
In the 18. This 8.
Go ahead.
Guess what, buddy?
It's another goal.
It's 2-0.
Oh, wow.
And guess who just scored?
Don't tell me it was.
I feel like we spoke it behind.
We need to see more of him for sure. Kill. When we got Muriel, I thought he was going to be a player like Cucho, and we were finally going to have what it takes to beat Columbus. Revenge from last season. Well, I could have told you that. That was not going to happen. I mean, number one, Cucho's much younger. Two, Cucho, he came to the MLS because he didn't really. It's not like he didn't cut it in Europe. It's just that he was not really having a lot of minutes to play in Europe, and so. But he's still a very I feel like he's going to be in Columbus maybe one more season, if that, or he may be leaving. There's a lot of interest from Italian teams and for teams even in England that have inquired about him. it's going to happen for him to go back to Europe. He still has the age and stuff, and plays for the Colombian national team, which is like top three in CONMEBOL. So I could tell you, Muriel, he could have been I think, and again, maybe next year he's going to be one whole preseason with the team. I think that's hopefully making a key difference. We definitely see a much better improvement, and like he said, this improvement is coming on the verge of them going to the playoffs. So this is great because we thought this was going to happen next year. So it says Jeffrey O. Muriel is a 10, not bad. We need cheeky passes and surprise shots. So I want to say hello to my friend Cucho. It says why Zucata doesn't kick like that at Interco. That's what he says.
He needs to get on the field first. Like
that's right.
You need to give him the pass first.
Yeah. So let's rewatch this the goal real quick by Columbus.
Mercado, is it Mercado? Who's playing in goal for OCB right now?
Well, Mercado got signed.
Yeah, Mercado just made a goal line save with his feet where he trapped the ball like this between his feet on the goal line. And the Chicago players were calling for it to be and now Chicago just missed an empty net. It's all going on at the OCB game, Luis. So
Alonso says, what about Heine?
Heine maybe instead of Felipe in that last 10 minutes there. It could have been, but I think Oscar's waiting for the right game to put him in. He's wary about just throwing him out there, I think.
No, but how are you gonna swim if you're always gonna wear your floaties, man?
I'm with you, Luis. I say take the training wheels off Heine. Let's see what he can do.
Correct. You come to the MLS, prove yourself, man.
And Bercalo not on the bench at all. So obviously he still got an injury because he didn't travel. So, looks like Schlegel's going to be there for a little bit longer.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the contract situation for a lot of the players? I know that the MLS released an MLS sheet. Hold on, I forgot the name of it. I can't. Let me see if I can find it. You want to read some comments real quick?
Sure. Alonso says, have you seen him play U22 DP? Yeah, I mean, we've seen clips of him. I haven't seen training, obviously, and we've seen him. I've seen some highlights and stuff from before he signed, but no, we haven't.
Look,
I'm hoping that he's going to get on the field next game.
You bring Carlos Asquez back from Vallejo, and he's better than Felipe.
Vasquez?
That's right. No, yeah, Carlos Asquez, yeah. That's right. Pogbasquez. Pogbasquez. There you go. There you go. There you go, right here. So, I mean, a lot of the players are going to be staying, man. We got an option for Cesar in 2025. Then Brecalo stay until 2028. Well, 2027, option 2028. So Brecalo is going to be here to stay, right? Then Ramiro staying 2025, option 2026, 27. Wilder doesn't have he's here till all 2025, so his contract expires December 2025, so he still has one more year with us, but there's no option there. Felipe only until this year, this is Felipe Capitan. Captain Felipe. Pedro, his contract expires this year, but he has an option for 2025. So hopefully we have El Pulpo staying with us, right? Heine, obviously, he's now right here, Gaston Gonzalez, under 22 initiative. He's here until December 2024. But he has an option 2025, 26, 27. Now, I'm going to give an update on Gaston. He's doing really good in Nacional. Like, and there are, I don't know, the problem in Uruguay is the money. So I don't know if Nacional is going to have the money to afford to
Um,
purchase.
I think we will let him go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like we want look. I think next year, obviously, now we
yeah.
know there's you can have the two DPs and then have four U22s. I
Correct,
think that's what the model we're gonna go for. I think we'll
correct.
probably I don't know, figure out a way. Maybe Ojeda's contract would be little enough, or Faku's to buy him out of DP status, and then just have Muriel and one of the others if we're gonna keep them all. And then we've got Heine and Ramiro, and those are the only real U22s that we probably have next season. So then you got two open U22 slots that you could go fill, as long as you move Gaston on. And I think that's as good as he's doing in Nacional Luis, I fear that he's just not an MLS top level like grade player, and
I
might never be.
it sucks to say, but I mean there was a lot of high expectation for him, and trust me, I'm not criticizing the club or the front office for ever inquire about Gaston, because I know for a fact even before he was even mentioned for Orlando City, there were teams in Brazil. He had a massive game with a massive season with Union, and I mean there were clubs in Brazil, even a top club in Peru that wanted him at some point. So there were rumors because he was a hot commodity, and then here comes the MLS, boom, cash, here you go, take him. You know, unfortunately, with his injury and the recovery and all of that, it's tough. It's tough. I also agree with you. I think the way he's shined and the way his family is also supporting him there at Nacional, it's great to see, and I think he's happy there.
I
He
think that's
looks,
the thing as well, right? You got to understand, like it's probably the better place for him, and he might want to stay there. And it's like, okay, do you want to come back and compete and maybe get in the team at Orlando City, or you want to stay in your home nation in the top team where you're playing and just enjoy your career? Um, I don't know. Depends how ambitious he is.
yeah. I mean, he's from Argentina, so he's playing in
Oh,
Uruguay.
I
So,
forget. Sorry, I thought he was Uruguay.
but it is pretty much almost the same. I know they're gonna kill me if they hear the Argentinians. It's almost the same culture, dude. It's like saying Peru and Ecuador. It's like almost the same thing, right? And so, and they're so close, these countries, that their parents can go to the games, literally, like, and like because they live so close. So, we'll see. I agree with you. I think that we should probably, then you got Mikey Holiday, December 25th, well, December of 2025. Robin Jansen has a contract till December of 2025, option 2026. So we're gonna be seeing Brecalo and Jansen this next season coming up. Um, Rodri, his expires this year, December 2024, with an option. Now, do you see the club picking him up?
I think that entirely depends on whether Oscar is still our manager next season or not. I think he's Oscar's guy, always has been. So if Oscar's around, there's more than likely that he's going to keep his guys that he's been working with for many years. And Schlegel's like, what, 27 or something, 28? He's not that old at all. So, yeah, I mean,
Yep. And
if it was up to me personally, no, I would not renew
yeah,
Schlegel. But it's not up to us. It's up to the coach. It's up to Luis Musi. But I think so much of that depends first on, are we keeping Oscar again? He's through here for next year. So
yeah. I mean, I think he's gonna be staying.
I think, based on if the club is happy with what he's done this year and happy enough, then they're going to renew him. And then he's probably going to renew his guys. I think there's definitely some that I think it's time to move on. Like, love Kyle Smith, but I've been saying for 4 or 5 seasons, like, surely this is the time that we move on from guys like Kyle Smith. And I like him, but I think those guys like Rodrigo and Kyle have reached their peak and they've reached their level, and they're always just gonna be backup guys. Honestly, now there shouldn't be starters. And I think that you got to move them on to get a little bit more space in the roster for guys like Alex Freeman and guys like, Thomas Williams and Cicada. Talking of OCB, Luis, we got another one. Loyola just scored an absolute banger from outside of the
Loyola.
box.
That's a player that we've not seen like the full year.
Yeah, number 95.
You want to put it on?
Yeah, I'll show you. Hold on 1 second.
On this says second best goalkeeper in Orlando City history, Vamos Rodri. There you go. And he's celebrating like he won the Champions League.
You just haven't been there.
Strike by Fabian. 3-0 OCB.
These are the players that we need to see next season. I want to see Loyola, man. I mean, I'm telling you. Now he's super highly well regarded in Chile, like to the point that they're saying they should call him up for the actual senior team.
Wow.
So and Gareca, which is the coach there for Chile now, he's really not really keen to call MLS guys, but he's on his way out. So apparently he's on his way out. So we'll see. Columbus and told Orlando City, stay humble, stay humble. There you go.
Yeah.
Rodri needs to sign an extended contract. He's a legend. He's the second best goalkeeper in Orlando City history. Vamos Rodri. And Alonso's saying that he's coming back. Yeah, Tonga's coming back. It says, I don't think he will play as long as Pareja is there.
Loyola? Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. If you're talking about Loyola, I think I don't think he's ever going to get a chance in the first team.
Yeah, because look, he has contract till December 2025.
He seems like one of those guys that has many years ago could have been brought in. It could have a lot of MLS minutes by now.
Correct. Yeah,
I agree. For some reason, they don't.
I agree. Same look with Kuchevsky. He's actually expires this December and has an option of a 2025. I see Oscar picking Kuchevsky up if he stays.
I don't know if Oscar really buys into the supplemental roster thing, but if you look at that part of this, that's all the guys that we're like, why don't you play them more?
Yeah.
And the other guys who are in the core MLS
they're all secured.
Get all the minutes. And so, but this is what, 22 or 25 on this list? Like, we can't just be playing that's what we do, but we shouldn't. Like,
we should not just be playing the senior roster.
We need the supplemental roster needs to be used more, and it's all of those guys have seen very, very few minutes this year. And you would argue, okay, they're not good enough, whatever, but they're never going to get good enough if we don't give them minutes.
Well, clearly, John, if you focus on stats and momentum, I mean, they're definitely good enough because they're killing it with OCB.
And like you said, I mean, and we talked about it before, guys like Thomas Williams that have been there since
years.
He's been there this is like, I want to say his 4th year paying consistently in OCB. Like, if you think of it like a U21 team, they should be there like 18 through 20, or even a U23 team. They should be there like 18 through 23. Yeah. When they're like 22, 23 years old, if they're not breaking into the first team, then let's bring the next younger guys up, because
and again,
some of these guys are much older than that in OCB.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, are you actually ever going to call them up, or are we just getting in the squad for the sake of filling out the squad?
Yeah, and honestly, I'll be honest with you. To me, he's 20 years old. He's homegrown, defender. He loves Orlando City. It kind of reminds me of, he's a homegrown man. So he's been through all the levels. He's not a bad player. I just don't know, again, and again, look, I'm not here to give bad juju to anybody, but look, Their contract is up December of this year for Thomas, for Luca, for Otero, for Jack, for Giorgio, right? Thomas may go to Portland, and he what if he thrives? You know what I mean? So there's a chance, and we never saw them. We never saw them.
Well, I think guys like Jack too, like guys that have been
Yeah.
up in the first team and have had a chance, and it didn't really work out.
Loyola as
So
well.
now what? It's like, okay, you go back to MLS
Right.
Next Pro, and like, what is that? Just like where Jack is now? Like, no, we need to say, okay, so this is too far. Let's get you a loan. Let's bridge the gap. And if we're not going to do that, Luis, then
Correct.
arguably it's like, okay, Jack, you were great at this level, but we're not, we don't believe that you can step up to the next level. Here's the door. And I don't think that's the right thing. I'm not saying that's what we
Me
should
neither.
do. I'm just saying it has to be a certain amount of like, what are we doing with these OCB players who we don't feel are good enough, but we still keep them around? Like, I don't make way for the Colin Gusks of the world.
Correct. Colin Gus, Justin Ellis. I mean, there's a lot of young talent too. So I'm just saying, guys. I mean, if we're gonna take the model of the 4 under 22s, let's definitely use them wisely and make sure that we are definitely uses similar. I mean, like what you said about Columbus. They rotate their team and they have full faith on the young guys stepping up, and we don't. We use our senior roster more often than anything. So let's read some more comments. Is Loyola? Yes. There you go. Thank you, Alonso. Appreciate that. They should bring Neymar and James Rodriguez, says Alonso. Jesus Christ. There you go. Yeah. Let's. It'll be great. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. I mean, trust me, it'll be great. But anyways, anything else you want to add, John, that I'm forgetting? Oh, the table, right?
No, yeah. I mean, we could quick look at the table. Obviously, we went down to 5th because Red Bulls managed to draw with Atlanta. So they're up there. That's good for them, but we're now down to 5th, sadly. We're still 2 points away from Charlotte. It's very tight. We need to perform well in our next few games, Luis. I want to stay in 4th. The good thing is the New York teams are playing each other on Saturday. So we're playing Dallas away, obviously. The Rebels and New York City FC play each other. So we kind of hope that New York City FC win, because then they'll go to 44 and then we might win, and then that would sort things out for us. But we don't want the Rebels to win again. And we got to try and keep up winning as well, because if they start to pull away, then we won't be able to get to that 4th. It's all about claiming this 4th spot. 3rd is unrealistic.
Yeah, 3rd is unrealistic because
it's a fight for 4th, but Red Bulls, us, Charlotte, and New York City are all in that fight. So we got to make sure that we're the best of those 4.
Now, if we get 12 points it'll be great.
I mean, Philly are coming up and looking strong and dangerous.
Very strong.
That's now a very difficult game at home. Cincy away, always going to be just as tough. And Atlanta are also trying to really fight for that 8th, 9th playoff spot. The game against Dallas, this game is arguably the easiest one.
Yeah.
And what we've got left. So it's going to be a fight at the end of the season, Luis. But if we're going to do well in the playoffs, then we got to be on our best game. And I don't think that I don't want to think that the momentum has been killed by this loss to Columbus. I don't think that's the case. I think that we saw our weaknesses on display. Like, we're a little bit sloppy at the back, but we also managed to score 3 goals against Columbus. There's not a lot of teams this year that have done that. Obviously they had that massive loss to Seattle, but there's they don't take a lot of goals. Columbus, they're not conceding a lot. So the fact that we put 3 on them is a good sign that we can score against big teams. We just need to be a little bit less sloppy, and we got to show it against Philly. We got to show it against Cincy, man. It's do or die, Luis. We gotta
Yeah,
show up.
and since the beginning, and again, I'm gonna repeat what I said in the beginning of the program. Because of that slump that we went, I mean, Inter, Cincinnati, and Columbus are in a different level as we are. And again, I'm not trying to downplay the boys or anything like that. It's just they're in a different level. Um, so and that is okay, you know. Now, is there improvements? Yes. I mean, there's been tremendous improvement when it comes to reacting, you know, towards a result that's against you, and trying to, you know, come back and pull the comeback. If those goals that hit the post would have gone in, we would have probably won the game. So, you know, again, there is tangible signs of improvement. Now, are we here to say, oh well, we never win the big one? Orlando has never won the big one. I will say, I mean, they never won the big one in basketball. They never won the big one in arena football. They never won the big one in hockey. So we are getting there. It is a process. The Pride are very close to win the big one, right? But they still having you know, the same people that are complaining and crying about Columbus. They don't go to Pride games. So I'm gonna be completely blunt about it. You know, put the money where your mouth is. You know, you know, there you go. Now Dallas, they did beat LAFC 3-1. So I heard today in from a lot of pundits and a lot of colleagues from Dallas that they are definitely very gun ho to go and play against Orlando. They feel that is a game that they can definitely win because they are with this high momentum for defeating LAFC. I don't know. They beat them 3-1. Now we're gonna go back and see Ruan right here.
Yeah, we'll
Right?
talk about that on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll talk all of that on
Move
about that on Thursday.
on
Yeah,
the way.
yeah. But
He's on the
anyways,
way.
we're gonna have tomorrow the Pride Pod.
Yep.
Talk about everything about Orlando Pride. Phenomenal season by the women, and then on Thursday we'll be back to talk about FC Dallas. So, anything else you want to add, John, before we go?
No, just everybody needs to, if you've not done so, go on over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Please drop a like on this video. That always really helps us. Also, you know, if you're on Twitter, go ahead and repost and like that as well. Share it so more people see it. We're always growing, and we appreciate that. So if you want to follow us on X, it's at LPO_podcast. On the same place on Instagram, and you can find us on YouTube as Loud and Proud Orlando, and on Facebook as Loud and Proud Orlando too. And if you want to listen, you can catch us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But your support is really helpful, guys. We appreciate it. So please drop a like on the video. Thank you.
For sure. So I do want to add one more thing. We are moving to a new system fairly soon in October. The graphics are gonna look a little different, but it's still gonna be the same pod. And we may be revamping the intro, which we will have it for you guys here, a brand new intro. So I wanted to thank everyone that is supporting us, and it's definitely doing it, you know, day in and day out. Thank you so much for your support, and again, we'll see you guys on Thursday or tomorrow for the Pride Pod, and then on Thursday, Vamos Orlando. There you go, John. Vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando.
Take care. Have a good one, guys.